Hello everyone! In this tutorial we will set up an interactive music system in Unity 3D using the Wwise integration. Now before we start, I want to show you how I set things up in Wwise. As you can see, I have a music switch container with two different music playlist containers inside of it. These music playlist containers also have different layers inside of them, and they transition into each other using the triggers inside Unity 3D. For more information about how you can set up the music switch containers and different states to switch between them, please check out Audiokinetic's official YouTube channel and watch their tutorials. So I have 5 different states here for 5 different islands, but I only set up 2 of them. So we're going to take a look at how they're working inside Unity. But first, let's hear these 2 different island containers. Now, on the second island, we're using the same layer, layer number 2, but also adding 2 different layers with different bass parts. So now let's hear this music playlist container. As you heard, they basically repeat the same guitar motif, same guitar theme, with different variations in the bass part underneath. So now let's see how we set things up at Unity. So right now, we have a music player object with all the necessary audiokinetic components attached to it. And we also have triggers to switch between the musical layers I just showed you in Wwise. So before we begin, let's test this interactive music system in place, and then we can set it up from scratch. So as you can hear, right now it is playing the first music playlist container. And unless we go across to one of these islands, it will keep repeating itself. But the second we go across, it will transition into the second music playlist container, and we will start to hear variations on the bass part. So now let's test this. As you can hear, it switched to the second music playlist container with different layers. So I'm going to start by deleting this music player and set it up from scratch. First, we want to create an empty game object. Let's name this music player. And I want to put this on my sound sources. And first thing we want to do is drag and drop our music sound bank. And secondly, I want to drag and drop the set state event, which has our music switch container attached to it inside Wwise. And last but not least, we need to assign a state to this object as a default state. Now let's test this again. Yes, it seems to be working. Now, as to how you can transition between different music playlists, depending on where your player is located, you need to set up colliders as triggers, like we did in the Footsteps tutorial, to switch between these layers, these containers. So for that, I put a basic box collider here with the AK state object attached to it. So basically, all you need to do is create an empty game object and then attach a collider to it. And it needs to be trigger, of course. And then you can just go to your states and whatever state you want to trigger. Let's say I want to trigger the state number 2 on the islands list. And I don't want this to trigger on start. As you can see, it triggers on AK trigger enter, and we are not going to use the other object. AK trigger enter. Let's uncheck this. And right now, let's disable this and instead put this new trigger in its place. Okay, close enough. So let's see if this will work. Now we are on the first state, playing the first island container. Okay, now let's test if our trigger is working. As you heard, it made the switch from the first playlist container to the second one. So to repeat, first thing you need to do is create an empty game object and assign all the necessary audio-kinetic components you want to use in your music player. And secondly, after you drag and drop your sound bank and your event and the necessary state that you want the music player to start with, after you set up all of that, you can start setting up your triggers around the level by creating box colliders that you can use as triggers and then drag and drop the states you want to transition into onto them. And please don't forget to change the trigger type so it will trigger on enter, meaning when you go through it and when you trigger the box collider. So that's it for now, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.